the other human population, the problem we have is they use them for the fur industry. Because they have this thick winter coat all year round, they'll catch them and they can use them for the fur industry. A small amount of them will actually use them. We get married in this country, we give rings or vows. Sometimes they might be different religions and different cultures will give them different gifts and things like that. Whether it be money or a gown in Asia, there's a small percentage of people will actually capture, skin a red panda and give an ornament or a garment or a hat or a scarf out of the red panda from the male to the female to help prolong the marriage. So only a small population does that. A small population will use parts of the red panda for Asian medicine, and then also you've got the fur industry, just general fur industry, like coats. It will take around about 50 to 100 red pandas to make a decent sized garment for average sized human. So you can see, because they won't use the darker underbelly, so it's all the back bit. So you're gonna, it's a lot of waste, but you can see when. For instance, we'll kill the cow, we'll use the skin as leather, we'll use all the meat, and whatever can't be used will go into the food for dogs or cats. So the whole animal is used, but they're commercially bred. So they're not commercially bred, but they're still using it. They're using it for themselves, and they're using the whole animal. It's almost the same as what we use in a cow. It almost balances it out and be quite safe. But because cattle aren't endangered, it doesn't really have a global impact. But we breed cows and we cause more meat. You've got, where do you say what's right and what's wrong? In Asia, they do it because they need money. So I can understand that. Everyone's got birds they feed. That's why they do it. That's why they do it. Sizes, there's often things like that. So you can't condone it to be right. You can't say it's wrong. Ideally, we wouldn't have it happening, but put yourself in the same situation as you say. That controversial issue, you don't know where to put both sides of the stories, and I can see both sides. There's about 50,000 as well in the world, so that's including wild and captive population. So we are trying to increase the number, but we're not always having success in captivity. We can breed a panda and it might only have one litter, and in that litter it can have 4, and they might not never breed again. So there was one comedian, actually it's made it sound quite funny, they do take the one-child policy of China far too seriously. Hence why they do have a problem with the giant panda in captivity, because you're almost forcing it on them, and sometimes they don't deal very well in captivity anyway. Yeah, it's just a shame. It's almost the animals do it.
The next big cat that still exists, tiger that exists, is the Siberian, from the far east of Russia. It comes from a place called the Amur, A-M-U-R, river basin. And for that reason, it's called the Amur tiger. It started from there, and the last
is there anything you want to know yourselves about the pandas? As it's a species of animal that you can actually talk on forever about them, because there's very little publicised in the media or on TV or there is loads of stuff on the internet, but it's one person said it and then someone else copied it and someone else copied it. There are a few books, but there's still both sides, and it's still not true, because it's only the real the scientific people are really actually getting some of the correct answers, and even then someone disproves it 10 years later. So that's why they're classified in different categories. They were classified as a raccoon family, and then they were classed as a red fox. Now they've actually been put and been left in the bear family, because that's what they closely resemble, with the claws, the face, and the dietary internal needs. If you look at a tapir, closest thing it looks like is a pig. Big pig-looking animal with a tiny little sort of like flexible nose. So people say, look, they look like an anteater, but they're more closely related to a horse and a rhino. nothing like either one of them. The dietary the internal organs of a horse, the gestation period is longer than most animals. It's 13 months, so it's a long gestation period. But the nose is of a rhino, so the long nose that can help scoop the food in, and the feet of a rhino as well. So you can see that it's taking like bits and pieces from every bit of animal to make it a whole different animal.
And that tiger was immortalised in certain legs by that person.
She's cute, isn't she? It's probably one animal that probably people wouldn't want to worry about giving back. Because loads of people always worry about, they'll say, oh, I'd love to take this animal, especially when we do like the lemurs, the meerkats. I give them 12 hours and they're giving them back to us. The panda's not destructive. Litter train pretty much. They'll go a mess on that in their nest boxes, just on the side of where they sleep, and on that shelf there. Very little food. You can grow bamboo in your garden, you'll be fine. Don't really need much. They sleep, they eat, they poop. Pretty much what a child does. So they're very simple, and that's why zoos don't really have to put much attention into looking after them, because they pretty much take care of themselves. As long as there's enough hiding nest boxes and things like that for them, they're pretty much just like, okay, I'll deal with it. And they do cope with it very well. Sometimes it's the breeding part is the hard bit. The diet's nice and easy because someone else has done that before for you, so all you've got to do is copy that. All you've got to do is just have a sustainable ability of bamboo. Once they've got the bamboo sorted, you can grow it in your garden or on site. That's sorted. The food, you can go to Tesco's and buy it, and you don't need a lot of it. As you can see, that little bowl had a whole pear in it and half an apple. For one panda, that would be most of its day's food done anyway. So they're very low maintenance, very low costing, but they take a lot of manpower to try and get them to breed, and a lot of mental ability to try and being able to put these boxes around, have cameras, have them a way to be secluded from the members of the public, because that's generally what it is that they need space and hide away. So there's a nest box up there, you can't see into it. That nest box there, you can see into it, and that one down there, and there's also the bushes they can't see into. So they have the space to get away.
Sadly, wherever you have a
I think that one's wedged a bit of bamboo. Oh, there goes. They are quite strong, and their hands, they can't move their feet or toes independently, like obviously like we can. It's just a whole mitten, and they just cup their hands around the food. And that's another reason why they were put in the bear family, because bears do the same. They cup their hands around the food and then just shove it in their gobs and swallow it. The only thing that differs from a bear is the panda has a long tail, where bears have a very short tail that has just cover up their modesty, really. That's what bears have a tail for. But because they climb trees, well, unlike most bears, they don't really climb trees much, and they're very uneasy when climbing some of the weaker branches. They'll normally climb just the main trunks and sit up in a tree. So, because they go up to the tips of the branches, they will use their tail for mainly balance. So, it's quite good. What we'll do is, I'll take the old bamboo out and swap the bamboo over. But you can see how strong or how flexible it can be. So for construction it's nice and simple, but the weaker it gets. And it's just because of the strong fibres and how it builds, and also having the vacuum that's inside the bamboo gives it the strength and the tactile ability to grow so tall. As some of the big stems of bamboo can grow over 100 feet tall. Normally it's cut down and harvested a lot of the time before that. And we recycle this stuff. We put it through a chipper and it goes on the floor. So everything gets recycled. Some of the bigger stems that we cut down, they shave all the spindly branches off and they use for poles. Bamboo canes, they use for sapling trees. So again, everything gets recycled as much as we can and as best as we can, because obviously as a zoo we've got to try and promote eco-friendly or sustainability, because that's the whole thing. Yeah. All of our energy comes from wind turbines, so it's natural resources, so we can say that we use energy sources that come from, or a sustainable energy source anyway.